If you're going to get your body off right, you need to get your mind off right too. I don't have 50 million things that I do. I do 3 things. Whenever you're trying to do something, the first thing you need to do is find a mentor. Find good mentors, change your circle, and it will allow you to fail a lot less while you're trying to get to success. You can spend a lifetime learning from your own mistakes or lunch learning from somebody else's.
Hey, fitness and health fans. It's time to get your game on and crush it with Coach Margella in another episode of Sporting Good Fitness. Join us for the podcast that will coach you from the sidelines to keep you on your game no matter what health or fitness game you play.
Hey, I'm Coach Margella. I'm sporting good fitness. What are you sporting?
Hey, Coach Margella, what do you have for us today?
Hey everyone, this is Coach Margella here for another episode of Sporting Good Posture. I have John Abbas on here today, and we're going to be talking about the posture of mindset. I'm going to change things up a little bit today. I've known John for the last couple years, and as I've gotten to know him, in brief, he's been a business owner of several different businesses over the years. And what it really comes down to for someone to be able to be that successful is really your mindset. And we're going to kind of switch gears today and talk a little bit about what it takes to have that kind of mindset to be successful, but also mindset plays a huge part of your health. And I wanted to relate that to why some people aren't as well as they should be, because their mindset just isn't where it needs to be. So I want to welcome you today, John, on the show, and thank you for taking the time out today.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Glad to be on.
Like I said, I've known you a couple years now. We've gotten to know each other a little bit more with some of the networking stuff, and also, we play poker. So you currently own a daycare in Nashville. But in the past, you've been an owner of a construction business, you've owned a restaurant, you own a company that makes planners for networkers, you've done Kyani, you've done a lot of things, man. Yeah,
I'm in the middle of launching a technology startup right now as well.
Wow. I admire you, and I have you on today because I respect how you've motivated yourself to be able to do these things, but really, as far as mindset goes and routines and health, like what have you done to really get yourself prepared to be able to handle all these things?
I mean, a lot of it is just personal development. I grew up in a really poor family, so we never had much, and nobody in my family ever owned a business or was ever successful, doing anything, or really ever made more than like 40, 50 grand a year. And so it wasn't until I joined the military right out of high school that I realized I wanted to be an entrepreneur, because I just hated being told what to do. And so, that was the first part of it. I learned a little bit of discipline in the military. The motivation came from upbringing. And then everything kind of developed from there. There wasn't really much of a routine in the early years. But today, reading a lot of books, listening to a lot of audios, studying like really successful people, I've realized that I needed to have a much better routine in my life. And, I started studying, some of the people with the most unbelievable routines in the world. Like Obama has a great routine, Richard Branson, Bill Gates. And, a lot of it comes down to exercise, getting your day started off right, getting your blood pumping, Absolutely. Personal development. If you're going to get your body off right, you need to get your mind off right too. So I read or I'll listen to a podcast like, yours. And then I take a little bit of time to just get clear. I don't have 50 million things that I do. I do 3 things. Number 1, I make sure I get some exercise in to get blood flowing. Number 2, I make sure I listen to some personal development. And then number 3, I make sure that I just get clear on like my intention for the day. What is it that I really want to accomplish today? Not this week, not this month, but like by the end of today when I go to bed, what is it that I want to make sure that I could look back and say, okay, this was a good day?
I find when it's not written down, it just doesn't get done.
That's right.
And I tell you too, like I've been doing this, and when you check something off on that to-do list, even if it's something stupid and small, you just get something out of accomplishing something. So I've actually found myself accomplishing more than I thought I could, because it feels good to check that list off. So tell me a little bit about what do you do? I know you work out. What do you kind of do as your exercise routines?
So the big thing is, diet a lot more than exercise. I mean, I'll exercise 5 days a week. But for me, It's more diet that affects my mood and how I feel. I don't have some incredible routine. I just, I start off the morning with like a smoothie or, a decent breakfast, like something pretty healthy. I try to do a low carb lunch, and then, I'll have a decent dinner. I just try not to eat after 6 p.m. I don't know why, but I wake up earlier in the morning. I don't feel sluggish. I feel ready to take on the day. But if I'll eat a late dinner, like 7, 8, 9 p.m., I just feel like crap the next day. And so I've just found what works for me. And it's just that workout 5 times a week and then just pay attention to my diet. I try not to eat a lot of junk, a lot of carbs. As I get older, you realize, I guess, that energy is more important than, feeding your body crap. Like you really need energy for kids and for business. And it's not like you're freaking 21 years old where you can eat Jack in the Box. That crap doesn't fly when you're 36 years old. You have to pay attention. And so that's just what works for me right now.
I don't like to eat late at night either because I do feel a difference with that. I find that if I eat late, then I'm sluggish, and I also don't get a good night's sleep either. So I definitely agree with you on that. You've seen both success and failure. It seems like a lot of times you can't get the success without the failure. So what have you learned from those that kept driving you to try other things?
Man, I had a mentor a long time. He told me we're all programmed to fail. And what I mean by that is when you're a kid, your parents are always telling you no. And when you mess up, you're punished for it, right? When you mess up or you make mistakes, you get a bad grade. And so we're programmed from students and kids to be afraid of failing because we're used to being punished for it. And I had a mentor a long time ago told me that you need to get rid of that thinking because the only way to succeed is to fail. And it was just that one conversation that taught me to embrace failure instead of looking at it like this thing I'm trying to avoid. Now, I'm not purposely trying to fail, but it's just my perspective on it. When it happens, I can just pick myself up really quick because I know that every successful entrepreneur has failed a lot of times on their way to success. And so I just pick myself up. The other piece of advice is find mentors. That's the thing that I tell everybody whenever you're trying to do something. The first thing you need to do is find a mentor. Failing is not the end of the world, but man, you can eliminate so much failure in your life by finding people who have already had success in whatever it is that you're trying to do and develop a relationship with them, whatever you have to do. Find good mentors, change your circle, and it will allow you to fail a lot less while you're trying to get to success.
That's so true, man. Every time that I've done anything with my life, and then especially with chiropractic, I go to a lot of seminars. I find the smartest guy in the room, the most successful chiropractor I can find, pick his brain. And typically, if you're hanging around with people that aren't motivated and making some bad decisions, and you'll find yourself doing that too. But if you surround yourself with successful people and people that are motivated and are doing it for the right reasons and, have a good head on their shoulders, you're more likely to be like them. And speaking of mentors, I know you're doing this new podcast on mentorship. So tell me a little bit about that.
It's right in line with, what you're doing, health and fitness and chiropractic. We ran into this problem a year ago, and this is why we're building a platform called Mentr. I was at that time trying to learn how to start a podcast of my own. And really, that's how this all started. And, I just found myself getting really frustrated with the options. I was on YouTube for hours trying to learn how to start a podcast. And, 4 hours into watching YouTube videos, I'm just man, this sucks. I just wish I could sit down with somebody that has a podcast and let me pick their brain for an hour. And I just started thinking to myself, man, why isn't there an option like that out there? And we just got this idea. We're man, why is there not a platform out there where people can connect with other people to learn things? There's all these platforms because we looked at it like this, dating used to be so complicated. And the reason why is because people just didn't know where to look, right? Where do you go? The bar, the library,
or the gym.
And somebody had a genius idea. They were just well, why don't we create a platform that connects people with mutual interests together? And that changed dating forever. And now 1 in 3 marriages come from online. Learning, there's no options like that out there. It's all e-learning. Why can't people shadow other people? If I want to learn how to be a chiropractor, why can't I connect with a chiropractor and shadow them for a day? I'll pay them for their time, Or if I want to learn poker or making wine or beer at home, or if I'm a real estate flipper and I want to learn how to be a good carpenter or do tile work, why can't I shadow somebody? So that's where the idea stemmed from. And I'm just writing the book and launching the podcast to create awareness that finding a mentor should be the first thing that you think about when you want to accomplish anything, whether it's a hobby, a goal, or a skill. And so we're building the platform. We're going to start beta testing Nashville July 15th, and we're going to officially roll it out in September with the new iOS update.
Well, I'm looking forward to learning more about that. Like I was telling you, I try to find the smartest guys in the room. I just feel like you can't do these things alone, and don't try. There's very few that can do it on their own. When you try to do it on your own, most of the time you fail because you just don't know what you don't know. And if you're trying to do it like that, you're going to probably fail, and that's actually going to be a bad failure because you didn't know really even what to expect. At least if you had somebody giving some advice, you'll know what to do, and if it's a failure, at least you'll learn something from it rather than just a blow-up failure where you can't recover from it.
Yeah, one of my mentors gave me this quote a long time ago, man, and I live by it. He said, you can spend a lifetime learning from your own mistakes or lunch learning from somebody else's. That resonated with me, and I've adopted that into everything that I do.
If someone's already done it and lived it, whether it's a business, whether it's working out, whether it's something, if you start getting too many failures right away, a lot of people quit. That's why New Year's goals don't get reached. That's why 90% of new businesses fail. That's why most people that try something new don't stick with it because they didn't have the guidance. Even the people that have made it huge have a coach, and have a mentor. I was reading the other day the CEO of Disney, has a coach, and some of these people that are on top, they're coaching everybody else, but they need to have somebody there to drive them so that they're better at their game and they're better at what they do. Not so much to teach them, but just to keep them focused on how they can help the people in their company or whatever they're doing. So this all relates back to health. The whole idea about health is really about routines, discipline, and mindset. And if you don't have those things, find somebody that does. Listen to our podcast, listen to John's podcast, somebody that inspires you, and listen to things that they do and start to develop your own routine. So number 2, what you put in your body is important. The fuel that you put in is going to dictate how well your body reacts. So if you're putting crap in, you're going to get crap out. It doesn't matter how much you work out. It doesn't matter how many supplements you take. The amount of food that you're eating, if it's garbage, you're not going to be successful because you're always going to have that toxic buildup in your body. It's going to cost you energy, time, and just overall unhealthiness. And number 3, get a mentor. Have somebody that helps you, have a coach, people around you that have done this before and that or are just successful in general, and emulate what they do, because that's going to lead you on the right path. It's going to lead you to be successful because you have the model of success in front of you. You just got to pick which kind of direction you want to go with it. It really is important because, like I said, even the top people have coaches. Rocky wouldn't have been anything without Mick because Rocky was lost. He didn't have a direction where he was going. Having people that support you is really important. John, I wanted to thank you for being on the show today. You've really given us a lot to think about. So if people want to follow you, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
The best way is just to follow my podcast, the Speeding Up Success podcast, or follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/getmentor. Now, mentor is spelled MENTR, so there's no O in mentor the way that we're creating it. So, or getmentor.com, also without the O. That's what we're putting all of our energy into, and I'd love to, get feedback and happy to share any valuable nuggets and content with anybody that you send our way.
And we'll have John's info up on our episode page, sportinggoodposture.com/mentor. And you can find all his information there and follow him. As far as for me, again, on Facebook is Ideal Health and Wellness Center. Instagram is Ideal Health Wellness Franklin. And you can follow me there. If you DM me and tell me what's going on, I'll tell you what I think.
Remember, the coach's door is always open. This is Coach Margella. I'm Sporting Good Posture. How about you?
Thank you, Coach Margella, for another thrilling episode. Sporting Good Fitness is a broadcast wellness production powered by Ideal Health and Wellness Center in Franklin. Executive producer, Frank Sardella. Dr. Margella appears courtesy of Ideal Health and Wellness Center, copyright 2018, all rights reserved. For more information, visit sportinggoodfitness.com.
Outstanding. Couldn't have done better myself, Rock. That's good.
Awesome.